Hi everyone, so I'm here making this video actually just to let you all know. So because actually have a bit of this cough, and it's not a very good cough. It's obviously because my voice is actually getting better compared to last time. But I've been coughing quite a bit today in the morning and the afternoon, especially even in the gym when I was working out. So I realized, oh no, I need to see a doctor. I went to see a doctor, and he told me for today, tonight, and tomorrow, just rest. And before I get back to work on Wednesday, and okay, so I might sound a little bit tired, and I'm indeed I'm tired. I also spent some time just now like doing a few slides for a lecture. So, but I want to just talk a little bit more about something concerning like how this process of healing and then moving on, things like that, from PTSD trauma from abuse, narcissistic abuse especially. Okay, we this was actually in the aftermath of something that I realized, yesterday, which I have not really talked about because I didn't want to talk about it. But then someone said, "Oh, maybe I think you need to just get a person who tell you all this stuff out, or just stop talking to the person." Because there was this one acquaintance that I known like maybe 4 years ago during the COVID period, but he asked me about something like, so who this person or whatever, and I said, I told you so many times, and if I don't need to repeat myself about the person who the identity of the ex-groomer, the person who actually used me or manipulated me into a situation that I didn't want to be in. And it wasn't just a toxic situation, it was actually a very abusive situation that caused me to really fall sick, and also to have to go for counseling for PTSD for years, and even go and see a to have to go to see a psychologist, clinical psychologist. So the thing is, he actually just this so-called friend or acquaintance just said all of a sudden send me something, or a picture of this one. I said, please delete the thing. So the conversation evolved into this thing where I said, are you a friend of the person? Are you a friend of the person? And you still have not answered my question. That was what I said. I wrote down on the conversation, and he claimed that they are not friends, but that he's not friends with the ex-groomer. But I don't think that it makes any sense. Even if he's not a friend, he knows who the ex-groomer is, and he seems to be acquainted with the ex-groomer's uh, peculiarities. So, and the thing was this, okay, the thing is that I might have told you all that the ex-groomer is actually a very competitive person, always trying to compete with me and everything, trying to copy me. And it was funny because from then until now, I couldn't recognize the ex-groomer. And that ex-groomer seems to be somatic narcissist. Okay, so all of a sudden, like after like how many years, like let's say about 8 years, all of a sudden I see the body has ballooned up, not in the sense of like fat, getting fat, but all of a sudden it's as if someone has started taking anabolic steroids, and that whole feeling that, oh, and then someone is also being coached by a pro bodybuilder. I was like, where does this obsession with the body come from? Like, and it's like I seem to get all these pictures, and which I don't really from feeds I don't subscribe to. And it's like, okay, I know this person, I know the coach, who he is, and why are all these people in a circle? Like, it seems to be a Mongolian cluster FUCK. It's so annoying, and it's like, it's in the end, yesterday night I had to actually block a number of people, block that one coach, and then today I was telling a friend about this. So I realized, why is it I'm actually, in some strange way, I told him, that I told one friend. So you know why I seem to realize that, and I think that God seems to be actually closing that door many years ago for me to be in the fitness industry. Why did it happen that way? I told him, what? It seems like God was I mean, I don't know about it. I didn't know about it then, but why do I keep my body kept on crumbling and collapsing, in the sense that I didn't really function very well. I couldn't sleep well, and I was very tired, and I was really mentally down when I was in the fitness industry. I was very unhappy and depressed, yeah. And I that was when I quitted after just barely maybe 6 months of, or not even 6 months, let's say about 6 to 7 months, yeah, altogether. And I told that friend of mine just now, I said, oh, do you realize that this is maybe like, maybe God is really trying to protect me, to make it, to allow it to fail so that, I could move on to things that I'm doing right now, which includes like things like lecturing, teaching, and things like that, which were what I was good at and which actually brought in a lot more money. And I told that friend, this friend works in PR, he's his own boss. But I told him, that there's a strange thing because even this last trip in July to Korea, I'm one of the photographers that I always make sure I do this body profile shoot just to track how my physique improvements are for someone who's natural. I don't mind that if it's kind of slight regression or or it's progression, whatever. I think that generally I did quite well for this one, but I want to get back into competing it, but maybe not in Singapore because it feels like there was a bit of this toxic vibe that I get after seeing all these feeds yesterday. And then I just told myself, you know what, I need something more positive. If I want to compete again, I have to get into a positive space. So I'm not going to go into this kind of shows where everyone is like on stuff. And even stuff like muscle mania, whatever, you have to have a timing and everything has to be correct. So but just aside from that, one of the photographers had asked me, he asked me, are you a trainer? I said, no, I'm actually not a trainer. I'm more like a physique competitor. He can't understood it because most of the time personal trainers in fitness and physique competitors are not really clearly distinguished between in Korea. And most of the time they're either both, they're either one or both. Okay, and I just told him, oh no, actually I'm more like a physique competitor because that in Korea it's very common. A lot of people who are physique competitors are not actually trainers. And I told him, oh, the reason is because when I was a trainer, I told him I feel that the money wasn't enough, and I actually ended up going into my former field, like academia and or allied academia, which is actually much better, much more lucrative. In many ways, it is much more lucrative because you think about it. I traveled so far to so many different countries while I was doing stuff like that, okay, teaching, and I could afford to, But for what about personal trainers? No, personal trainers are barely able to actually even survive. To be honest, or they work very hard, they get a salary, but they can barely afford to travel out because the time doesn't allow them. And on top of that, they don't have enough savings. I don't think they have enough savings. So sometimes that I can't realize this myself. But I told the photographer, it's more lucrative. Then he kind of, oh yeah, that's true. Um, and it just kind of made me realize, God seemed to be putting out his providential will out there to help me. And one thing to say, I want to say this because of the whole thing concern. I'm gonna sleep in tomorrow because I'm really like, yeah, taking medication is gonna kick in soon, and then I'm gonna just sleep. I really pray that to God, I've been having all these kind of revelations, and then the revelations about the ex narcissist groomer and everything is causing me to really have this kind of, I don't have a fight flight response anymore, but still I feel a bit of a heartburn kind of thing where anxiety, oh no, these people, oh, that kind of thing. So I need my rest for sure before Wednesday's morning when I wake up early at 6 something, just to travel to that university and reach it before 9, okay, or by 9 latest, okay, including my 1 hour breakfast eating. But the doctor is actually quite understanding, so I'm really happy about it. And he told me just rest. And okay, but back to this whole thing about narcissistic abuse, recovery, and healing. Sometimes that I realize that, the thing is this, I realize that there are some friends who I give the ultimatum to that so-called friend or acquaintance, but I don't think he gets the understanding on why I hate these people so much, and why I don't want anything to do with them, and but it's just a whole thing. But you know what? Sometimes you just move on because people don't understand it. So, but today I just in the morning I just watched something by Trace Faces. This is a she does coaching for narcissistic abuse. She was telling the listeners about how she left her abusive marriage. Okay, how she left her ex-husband, and I think kind of thing that it resonated because I realized that at the end we're talking about I'm talking about just now I was talking about God making sure I couldn't get back into the fitness industry. I can compete again, of course, but I don't want to compete in bodybuilding because I'm drug free and natural. So, all they expect me to, and I'm at this age of mine, I'm no longer thinking about getting as big as possible. I just want to be like, look symmetrical and look in shape and everything. And yeah, I want to just, age with longevity. But this is not like the ex-groomer who's like on those all this stuff, and then I don't think that narcissists age well. Basically, they might look really like they're very good, but eventually with age they crumble. So and that ex-groomer is like younger than me by 12 years. So we just wait and see. Okay, but I'm not really like putting popcorn there or whatever, because anyway I have so many other priorities in life. But I just realized this whole thing about what Trace Face It said about her name is Tracy actually, what she said about why she left her ex-husband. And I mean, my context is a totally different thing. It was a narcissistic situationship slash grooming kind of situation. And I couldn't really get out, although I could actually in a way, but there were certain factors like my whole financial situation, fear of the person or what they could do to me, and yeah, different things. But I kind of realized this in retrospect. Because the thing is, I told y'all about my own faith journey, how I left my own, the kind of background, the Reformed faith or the Protestant faith that I grew up in, okay, and to become, of all things, Eastern Orthodox. People don't really understand much about Eastern Orthodox. They think it's either like Catholicism, Roman Catholicism, or they think it's just like, yeah, they think it's like a close cousin of it, or sister or brother of that faith, or they think that it's just like, oh, some, they just, the first next other thing is like, oh, Orthodox Judaism. No, it's Eastern Orthodox Christianity. So the thing is, man, when I actually went through that, I believe I told you all that my grandmother, my maternal grandmother's passing taught me a lot of things that I didn't really realize. And the whole thing is, I told myself, and after that, like, I had a nightmare of being held hostage by terrorists, in which I was able to escape by some strange power. So I kind of realized that basically, the thing is, we are all trying to, to rise above the challenge, our trauma. And I mean, the truth is this: narcissistic abuse really changes you. We all like get really really sick after that. Even in the aftermath, it's not always necessarily the best. It's not like, oh wow. Some people experience even more anxiety after leaving, but the kind of anxiety is a different kind of anxiety. And I realized this, and in a way, it's kind of the anxiety of trying to make life right again, okay, as compared to the anxiety of trying to please someone who couldn't care about us, okay. And that kind of anxiety of trying to make life right itself is something constructive. But when she was talking about how she left, okay, back to what she said about how she left her ex-husband. She said that she always loved God, and because she loved God, she had some download. Yeah, she had like some spiritual encounter, like as a someone who grew up in the Catholic faith. And then for me, as like, I respect the Catholics a lot, because no matter what, I think we're still like basically brothers and sisters in the faith. And the thing is that when she said something about that download, it's kind of reminds me, I had my own download myself. I can explain why when I was wanting to do things like, hurt myself and harm myself. I can explain something in my voice. It was like many years ago. I mean, I already had that something saying, don't do it. There was a voice telling me that, and it was like, if it's not God or some higher, maybe like an angel telling me, don't do it, my guardian angel, maybe my guardian angel or the Holy Spirit, God, the Holy Spirit telling me that I can't play sport, or maybe even a patron saint, I don't know. But it feels like someone was watching me out there. And then I told one friend who's not I mean, she was this Spanish friend who's not a Catholic now, because she grew up in the faith, but she was very disillusioned. She does a bit of like neo-pagan like work and everything, yeah, linked to witchcraft and everything. And yeah, but she's a very very good person. So I told her, told this friend of mine, that actually, woke up in the morning, I told her about the feeling that I wanted to, hurt myself back many years ago. That was in 2017, 2018, yeah. And although this scar was way over by 2 years, and my situation was so bad financially, I told her I don't know why, and she said you have to do your work, your inner work on yourself. Because if you don't do your inner work on yourself, you're not ready to get into a new job, a new better life. That's what she said. And she said, before I got to my job, she was working in a university, for allied education, yeah, for the disabled and everything. So she said, that before you do this, I got into my job, I did a lot of work. I wrote in my journal all the time what I went through my things. And she said, I wrote like a 5-page kind of thing entry, obviously in those notebooks which are not so big, but maybe half of like a novel size book, yeah, in terms of the font. And she said, I wrote about like 5-page entry. So the thing is, she said, Kevin, you should do this to yourself. Like, just write and deal with the things that you're dealing with, and speak up for yourself. And told her, Pilar, this is my friend's name. Okay, I had heard a voice. The voice was like 7 years. She said, does it mean your trauma when you were 7 years old? I said, no, I don't think so. Some voice telling me 7 years. I think it meant 7 years ago when I was struggling in 2011, when I first came back from Calgary, in Singapore, not finding a job. I was really depressed, and I actually had to go to a counselor to ask her for help, because I was starting to think very, very negative thoughts, and including hurting myself, and ending my own my own self and everything, but basically unaliving myself. But of course, I think God is always watching out, because I got a job in Japan, and the job was actually helping a lot. But of course, every time, sometimes you have some situations where money just runs out, like the case of what happened after I came back from Australia, or when encountering the ex-groomers all this energy causes you to lose all your money again. But you know what? Even as the psychologist keeps on telling me, you earn back everything. Even a friend who used to tell me this, don't get so worried about money. You can always earn it back. Okay, you do something, do a job, whatever. Even if the job is not what you love or whatever, do it and earn back the money. Okay, you're not going to be bound like this forever, poor and whatever. And now I'm out of this poverty situation, very thankfully. Okay, I can't say I'm saving up a lot. It's not really awful lot, but at least, what, I have my savings now. I don't think I'm going to be able to retire on time. That I still have to work into my maybe 60s or whatever. But sometimes I always think about it, and I realize, what, the aim is not to burn out fast, but the goal keep on going and have a lot of longevity. Then I realized that the thing is this: how did God bring me out of all this? I can't realize all the things I heard, the things I heard in my head telling me not to hurt myself. Even people trying to around me, some of them are not Christians, but they those who really cared for me, they were trying their best to help me. And there was a voice inside of me I cannot explain. It wasn't just my own will, my whole anger that I want to survive and do well. I want to have the kind of revenge living where I live well and without any caring about all these narcissists and all these psychopaths, what they did to me. And I can only trace it to God. And then what Tracy's face was, what she said was true. She said she realized at one point of that download, when she had a download, she really realized, what, the ex-husband is causing her to leave behind her love for God and for Jesus himself. So she had to either choose, basically. She could stay on and keep on losing that love for God she had, or she could just choose to love God and leave that marriage. And she did. Okay, and now she's like, happily doing her coaching, helping people and to get out of their situation and everything. I think it's right, because she was very positive, unlike some of the other life coaches I've ever seen. I was telling you about some other life coaches. Some of them are not really life coaches. Some of them are just like content creators. They're so full of anger and everything. But Trace face it. She has a lot of this radiance. I told her, Trace, I'm actually going to convert to become Ukrainian Orthodox soon. And she was like, wow, that's good. It's just like she actually liked my post and said, she said something, because she came from a Catholic background. She said my grandmother always had this thing with Saint Teresa. There's a statue of her in my hall, some image of her in my room. And I always feel like she's protecting me as well. I mean, she's there to help God to do the work to guard me and everything. I was saying now, I have a patron saint probably. I'm going to choose one when I get cremated later on. So I did to tell my subdeacon, oh, you know what? I think I'm going to choose either the Ukrainian, the first king of Kievan Rus, first Christian king, Volodymyr the Great. Yeah, Volodymyr meaning the Ukrainian version of Vladimir. So either that, okay, or he's an imperial saint, yeah, or either that or the emperor, the Byzantine emperor, Nicephorus II Phocas, okay, who used to be called the pure death of the Saracens. Yeah, because he was very fair, obviously, but in battle he was so scary that the Saracens, the Islamic invaders, the marauders, was so scared of him. Okay, um, Nicephorus second died a very tragic death though, because in the last few years he was betrayed by someone. His wife actually Theophano, Empress Theophano, who actually allowed her lover John Zimisces to actually go at night and then just assassinate him. And supposedly he died praying to the Mother of God, the Virgin Mary, in his last moments. But he was canonized as saint. So, but yet one thing, the thing about all these imperial saints is that they all were first and foremost soldiers. Okay, soldiers who became Christians, and they were not just warriors of God, they were also real Christians. Okay, who live for the example, and probably like even Constantine the Great, okay, who is a bit more controversial because people were wondering whether he was baptized as a non-Trinitarian Christians, but I mean that's a different thing. So I just want to just get out there that what, I kind of realized this myself after what she said, and it's like God really wants me to get out of it. If he can get me out of all these things, what's stopping me from living a life I want? I got so scared about this job, like applying for it, because I was thinking, will I end up like in a space where I encounter the best friend of the ex-groomer who is probably working there in a different department or different faculty in the university. But I realized, wait, why am I thinking like that? If to begin with, we're not going to see each other anyway. I'm not going to see that best friend of the ex-groomer, and neither am I going to see that ex-groomer myself. Okay, if I see, I'll just probably run the other way anyway. It's not a big deal, but I don't have to see them, so I don't think it will ever happen. It didn't happen as well. So, and really thank God, yeah. But thank God I got that job. Okay, at least until the end of this year, and I had to go sleep, so I'm just a bit tired and everything, and this is the thing, my body clock is not really getting used to it. But I know one thing for sure. The thing is this, with narcissistic abuse and PTSD trauma, it might look like when you're going through it, it's just like a living hell. It's like you have sleepless nights, you have times when your body breaks out in sweat at the prospect of whatever you're going through or have to get out of. Then you are so scared of like the past coming back to haunt you. Today I was watching this one part where the character of Phoebe Halliwell, there's this episode called Pardon My Past. Yeah, she does a past life regression spell, to go back and see her past, like how it was. And obviously in her past life she was seduced by this man, this warlock, yeah, by the name of Anton. He used his good looks to obviously seduce her. And the two sisters who were in the past life, her two cousins who were good witches, had to actually kill her. And other than killing her, they had to actually pronounce or curse a spell on her, so that in that particular life and the future lives, she would not be able to use her magic for evil, that she would just basically pass away just like that, past a certain age. Maybe I think it was 25 or something. I can't remember what age, but it was a very young age. So in her maybe mid-20s or so. So the thing was about a past regression spell. So there was a spell that she uttered to go back to the past, and she realized, oh my, the sister whom I loved, the first two sisters, older sisters, they were actually the ones who actually killed me because I was evil, and she was dealing with the past thing. But then you have an angel, guardian angel, white lighter, who tells her, we actually always evolve. We normally tend to be reincarnated in the same family, or even within each other, like whatever. And then we tend to actually revolve around each other, even our enemies. Well, I said, and she asked why. Oh, it's because we actually had to, learn our life lessons. I don't believe so much in reincarnation, but some of the things about life lessons made me realize. I mean, the character of the so-called guardian angel, he was actually the former lover, okay, of the second sister Piper. Then I realized, oh my, it's so strangely like my past. People are saying that I'm going to go to hell because of that accident. That thing about the ex-groomer thing is like basically they say you deserve it, you got into it just like that without knowing it. But how do I know? Okay, and the thing is that I mean there are some Christians who are a bit more compassionate. They say, you know what, you didn't get into it, you didn't know it, you just did what you did then, and but you know what? I realized this thing. It's not a death sentence. Neither is it a so-called life sentence where you have to leave it all out for how many years. Uh, PTSD trauma and narcissistic abuse are not life sentence. So I'm definitely feeling much better right now. So anyway, I want to go back and doing stuff like I did tell myself within the next few months I'm not competing. I want to do stuff like just really get back into a better shape to be able to compete. But I think now I'm not. My PTSD caused me to lose a lot of weight and everything. I mean, although I'm healthy, but it's just not healthy with the way I'm not eating as much as I used to. So and I'm also not training as hard because I'm a bit sick. But I need to get out of it, and I need to get out. Not snap out. It's not like something you snap out of, but I need to get out and take care of myself. And I know that at least I have friends, who are going to help me, like my coach, my friend, Rob is actually going to help me with my diet and my exercise. He's not going to like tell me, because I remember that when he saw my videos, he said, why are you pushing so hard with the weight and everything? You're not doing good form. And he kind of corrected me and say, you know what, you should just drop your ego and let take things as they are, and do it according to the best form you can, instead of just trying to go for ego and lift it such that it becomes too heavy. And I realized that, oh, you know what, I shouldn't rush. The thing is, people who are rushing, they take steroids, they do this stuff, they hurt themselves. And this is like what the next groomer is doing. I know that they would eventually hurt themselves. They will burn out very fast. Who cares? I don't care. Okay, but I have a duty to take care of myself, because I'm approaching my 50s soon, in a few more years. But Rob did tell me, you know what, wait till you get to 50s, you realize that maybe 50s is the new 40s on whatever. And yeah, but I think that I should just rest now. So either way, I hope that this thing is like, I mean, if just one person or a few people just listen to this and you find some kind of hope in what I'm saying, that would be good. Okay, so but I hope everyone has a good day, and that everyone, regardless of what you believe in, remember, like this PTSD trauma and the non abuse is whatever, it's not a death sentence or life sentence. We can get out of it. Of course, you know what, all the abuse or the trauma will change your neurochemistry, your body, everything, but it's not forever. When you recover, you also get better. Okay, like last time in 2022, one friend asked me, how do you feel? Oh, actually, I was feeling very good. I don't know why. I just, when I was dieting, I might be losing some weight and some fat, but I was looking good, and I was thinking that I looked better. I wasn't like going to do to the extent of doing all stuff like whatever extremes. Yeah, and now I kind of realize, the best way is the middle road, the way of moderation. Okay, so anyway, yeah, that's it for now. Okay, have a good one, everyone. Okay, bye bye.